Hey folks, welcome back for another mechanical studies video. In this video we're going to introduce patterns and how we can use them to just get more, take steps to becoming a better player and getting new movements under our hands. So I'm going to introduce basically the foundation for how to come up with your patterns and whatnot. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our major scale. I've got a little blackboard here. We're going to take our major scale and we are going to write out whatever scale we prefer to work on at the moment, 2 octaves. So I have already done that in the key of A. That's what I've got right here. Hold that up a little bit more. There you go. So that's 2 octaves of the key of A. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to write down numbers underneath each note, starting with 1. So I'm going to do A. I'm going to put a 1 underneath it. B. I'm going to put a 2 underneath it, etc., etc. I'm going to go the whole length until each note has a number underneath it in sequential order. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we get back to the top, we're going to get back to the second octave. We're going to start with 8 instead of 1. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like that. All right. So now I've got each note of the scale is associated with a number. Now, we can start with probably the simplest pattern of them all, which is the 1, 2, 3, 1 pattern. Now, for this pattern, all we do is we just take the first 3, we just take 3 numbers from this and we play them in sequence and then go back to the first note we started on. So we will do 1, 2, 3, 1 like that. Then we advance to the next 3 numbers like that. So then we would do 2, 3, 4, 2 like that, etc., etc. Next would come 3, 4, 5, 3, 3, 4, 5, 3. And we would do this until we get to the top. Okay? Let me demonstrate that. And then I'll show the pattern for how we come down from this. All right? 1 second. All right, so that's the pattern going from the root of the scale, going up the up the numbers until we get to the top. We've completed 1 octave. All right, that's the way we do it going up. Again, this is like the first easiest pattern that you'll ever do to it. Working on this technique. The way we descend is we start on the 8 and we work our way down 3. So we go 8, 7, 6, back up to 8, then do the next 3, 7, 6, 5. Back up to 7, 6, 5, 4, back up to 6, etc., like this. So we have 8, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6, 5, 7, then 6, 5, 4, 6, like that, etc., until we get back to the top. Okay, these are very simple patterns. If you're just an absolute beginner, that's what these are for. These are to get you playing your scales in a different way than just linearly. So let me do the descending pattern to show you what I mean. First, I'll play the ascending one to get up to it, and then I will descend. Okay? Check that out. Now here's the beauty about this whole pattern. You can do this to any scale that you know. Write it out 2 octaves, put numbers underneath it, and then all of a sudden you can apply this same pattern because you know which notes you're going to start on for the pattern and what notes the patterns are going to make use of. And you can also use different patterns altogether. Like you could do like 3, 5, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5, 7, 3, 6, 8, 4, that sort of thing. Those are inverted triads. Okay, so this pattern is kind of this pattern and this technique is the foundation for being able to play anything via the number system. As long as you know the major scale or minor scale or just whatever scale you're working on, as long as you know that scale and you know the notes of that scale as numbers, then you can figure out any of these patterns and you can use it to come up with some really cool patterns. So let's see. I'm going to apply this same pattern to the, let's see, the C minor scale. I'm going to do Dorian minor, so with a regular major sixth instead of a lowered sixth. And I'm going to apply this same pattern to that scale. Let's check it out. All right, so that's a very easy pattern. It's a very simple way you can introduce a lot of material to work on when you're a beginner and you're just starting to get familiar with all this stuff. You can do this, a whole bunch of different octaves in the horn. You don't have to restrict it to one octave. Once you get familiar with the notes and all that stuff, once you get familiar with the notes in the single octave variant that we've been showing here, you can do it through the whole range of the horn. So I will do that starting back in the key of, let's see, I'll do it in the key of C again. I'll start on, I'm going to start on the third at the top end of the horn, the third in the key of C minor, and just work my way down as far as I can go. So this pattern, this one, 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 2 or 8 7 6 8 7 6 5 7, is particularly useful when you're learning how to do back tonguing or jazz tonguing. Okay, the way these work is you take the last note in the group of 4. I'll pull this chart up. Take the last note in the group of 4, in which case this is going to be the 1 right there. You take that note and you ghost it. You play it a lot quieter than the other 3. So that way you're going do 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 like that, okay? Let me demonstrate this because it helps to hear it in context. Check this out. All right, now that's extremely exaggerated, and it's also extremely slow. The important thing to remember about this technique is normally you're going to do it at a pretty quick pace. So let me demonstrate that so you get an idea for how this actually sounds when you're doing, when you're working on jazz lines and whatnot, and how this articulation is actually going to be used in practice. All right, so as you can see, as we play it up to speed, the act of ghosting those notes, the last note in the 4-note group sounds much more effective, and it gets us a lot closer to sounding like we're playing with the right technique when we play jazz music and swing music and all that kind of stuff, or bebop music in general. Okay, so the last thing to take away from this is that if you struggle with these patterns, go back to doing the 4 3 2 1 tonguing exercise that we've been doing in the earlier videos, where you tongue each note 4 times in the pattern to give your brain time to think about, what do my hands have to do to switch to the next note. All right, once you get that nice and fluid, switch to 3 times, then 2 times, then 1 time. So I'm just going to demonstrate that real quick to show what I mean. All right, that was 4 times. So now I'm going to switch to 3 times because my fingers are a little bit more comfortable, and I don't have to think so much about how many times to play those notes or how to finger those notes that are coming next in this pattern. Let's try it out. Etc., etc. I would keep doing that until I was really comfortable with it. Then I would switch to 2 times. Then I would switch to 1 time, which would bring me back to the original pattern. And at that point, I'm just trying to get it going cleaner and cleaner, quicker and quicker until I don't have to think about how to play the pattern at all. Again, this is like purely a mechanical exercise. It's all about just training our hands to know the sequence of fingerings we have to do to play these sets of notes. And then we start introducing the articulation exercise. And then when we see like a Phil Woods line or a Cannonball line in some transcription that we're working on, we already have the muscle memory for articulating it the correct way. And we are probably going to see a bunch of the same patterns that we've been working on in that solo directly. Okay? All right, so just to recap, what you're going to do is you're going to take any scale that you're going to write it out 2 octaves. Then you're going to write all the numbers underneath it, like this. All right, and then you're going to just start working, put together a group of 4 pattern. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, that sort of thing, going up the scale, and another one going back down that is very similar. And then you're just going to work on that until it's easy to play and it's fluent. And then you're going to add some tonguing exercises to it to get you as though you're doing some jazz swing articulation where you ghost the last note. Okay? All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find that helpful. I will see you in the next video.
Mm-hmm.